Thank you. Good morning. I'd like to start out by asking you to join me in doing a couple of things. First, I'd like you to all imagine your childhood home or the room you grew up in. Is that possible? Okay. Second, imagine you won a lottery ticket and that made you rich enough to buy a vacation in the Maldives. You had to plan that with your family. Try to imagine that planning section. Imagine you going to the Maldives. Can you do that? That should be pretty easy. So we have this fantastic ability to recall the past. We're all visual thinkers. But we can also imagine the future. We can do something that pictures can't do. We can take photos of the past. We can draw the future. So I'd like you to help me a bit. How many in here would consider that you are good at drawing? Please raise your hand. Okay. Now, how many of you would consider that you are not so good at drawing? Okay. So we might have established that in this room we have around, I think I was right to do this way, maybe around 20% who consider this, and then the rest of us consider this. There might be a room somewhere for something in between, but let's just stick to this. So that seems to be a problem. We're all visual thinkers, and we have this block, maybe. Now, this is the drawing of Malte. He's 10 years old. He drew this drawing especially for today. And as you can see, it's a battle between dinosaurs and humans on planet Earth. Humans are coming on the left side. So my question would be, why might creative drawing be worth doing as adults? And the point of this talk is, or these three, we are all visual thinkers, and we can all draw. And then drawing together is a very important practice if we want to create movement. So I'll tell a story about Chris, Grace, and Ben, and you might have had similar experiences. They meet very regularly on a cafe after work. And this particular Friday afternoon, they meet up, have some coffee, and sit and talk. And Chris, he has this great idea. He just wants to share, so he asks Grace and Ben, well, if we were to gather people who would do great presentations, short, crisp, about ideas that are worth spreading, what would attract you? Who should technology, education, and design? And loads of people come and they have a great event. So this is not the true story about how TED started, but it might be a similar experience that we've all had in some way. We draw stuff on paper and ideas emerge and they spread and potentially they become a movement. So why does it work to draw together? Well, there are a couple of reasons. Am I right? Well, seeing. We have this sense, which is the most dominant of our senses. It's how we navigate in the world. We take in a lot of information. And then we have this ability of doing visual thinking. We can imagine something. We can imagine futures. We can imagine future possibilities. Oh, this should be the man on the moon. And we can do this, we can imagine future possibilities, and drawing together counts the same. Now, having this ability of seeing, listening, and thinking, can channel that into a drawing, and it clarifies. Another good reason why it works is that when we draw together, we bring in multiple perspectives. Have you ever tried that? You sit and you draw, and then you can see it fits here, and you can relate, and then suddenly you're part of creating something together. And when you create something together, you invest. And that investment makes you own what you created together. And you can then cascade. Everybody wants to tell that story, and pictures are great because everybody can interpret it in a little bit different way and tell their own part. So you might be thinking this, I still can't draw. That's why I'm so happy that you have a notepad and a black marker. So I'd like you to pull out that notepad and black marker. And the black marker is because then it can be seen. And I'll just go do a couple of things on the screen. And are you ready? So if you can draw a line, we're well off. And then you continue with a circle, a square. If it's going too fast, I'll continue. A triangle, and a wave, something like that. See, that's pretty simple. That's drawing. Now, a little bit tricky is the 5-pointed stars, but you start in the beginning and you make 5-pointed stars.